Okay, I assume that all of you read the risk warning, and we can get started. So let's start with, what do you think makes a trader? We're all here to discuss trading. What, in your opinion, makes a good trader? I'd love to hear your answers. Anyone? Well, Lewis says that it's all about the results. They say everything. Okay, that's definitely important. That's the reason why we're all here. But how do we become good traders? What, in your opinion, constitutes for someone who is a very good trader? How do you get to these results? Um, that's the main question here. How do we become traders that actually yield good results? And I'm going to give you an idea of what I think. Okay. Graham writes to us that it's a mindset. It's 100% all about the mindset. I can relate to that. And Lewis is also remarking, manage risk and a solid strategy. Okay, so you guys are definitely leaning towards what I want to talk about. Adam is writing, understanding the balance of risk and reward. Great, great stuff. Okay, so let's see how that actually applies, and I'll tell you what I think about what does it mean to become a good trader. It's about three major elements. It's about excuse me. It's about having a trading plan. It's about executing, and it's about sticking to our trading plan and our strategy. So it's planning, it's executing, and it's sticking to it. Now, the saying goes, plan your trade and trade your plan. Man, the meaning is that you need to think of your setup or the strategy that you want to get in a trade before you dive in, and you need to think of the exits in the same way as well. If we don't do that, usually it's very hard to think clearly, and we become emotionally invested in it, and that's when it becomes a little bit harder. So following through on the trading plans, it sounds simple, right? Well, it's not really simple. Um, it doesn't happen in reality that often. Um, why doesn't it happen in reality? There are a few factors. Sometimes it could be greed. Sometimes we're greedy in a trade that's going our way, and we find it hard to simply, close it as our initial plan suggested, and we keep it open. Yeah, and then we see it going against us. Sometimes it's fear, preventing us from stopping our losses and ending up losing more than we should have, or that we allocated initially for a loss. Sometimes it could be even boredom, not having your plans execute because it doesn't reach the limits that you wanted, or the rates that you wanted. And we want to get into a trade just because it's been a while that we saw our specific setup. And that could be a pitfall for us. And it sometimes it's even simpler things like time, and the fact that we're all human and we can't always be there at the right moment. So it all comes down to discipline, and it's necessary to stick to a good trading plan, and many of us lack that. Let's discuss how trading has changed in the past few years. Um, so, in the last 20 years, there's been a great shift in the financial trading industry. It's believed that today, more than 80% of the global trading volume is being traded using machines. That means algorithms that run massive trading orders on a magnitude that just keeps on growing. And the thing is that there is a huge distortion in this market because only about 2% of the players in the market are utilizing those machines. So we're saying that 80% of the trading that's done is actually being executed by 2% of the traders that actually use these machines and algorithms. And now we can ask ourselves, what exactly is algo trading? So as it's written here, algo trading is the use of a predefined set of rules being written into a computer code to automate the process of buying or selling assets. And the big players, that's what they do. They use these machines to actually execute the trading plan that we previously discussed. And it allows them to be unattached emotionally. And obviously, it works out more than fine for them. So, what other changes have we seen um, in the world of trading in the past few years? Um, let's talk about fundamental indicators. We're swamped with data. The kind of data that was once very hard to come by is now flooding us from all over the network. And it's not just fundamental analysis. Automated trading systems are nowadays using much more than the price and the volume. They use the fundamental data that I mentioned, like macro and microeconomic events. Could be interest rate announcement, could be CPI announcements. They use sentiment indicators. They use social indicators. They use the weather. They use technical indicators. So trading has become much more, on the one hand, complex, but also accessible um, and filled with more knowledge. So here's an example of a technical indicator, very easy example that we can all understand. Here's a clear technical indication. This is a chart of 100 weeks moving average. Of the S&P, and it's from back in 97 till nowadays. And we can see that if we were to sit on the fence and not trade every time the weekly bars traded below the 100-week moving average, we would have missed out on most of the dot-com falls, the subprime crisis, etc. And this was a clear technical indicator, when to get out. It's a bit long term, but still, it shows a very good example of what you need to be aware of. Let's continue. Okay, just my screen. Great. Here's an example for a macroeconomic event. Let's take, in this example, we can see the personal income month over month for the United States. And in this example, that it was released on January 31st, and just when the markets opened the release, it was released, the personal income report, and it indicated growth of just 0.2% from the last month, where the expectation was for it to be at 0.4%. And we can see that that day opened with a negative gap, and it signaled a significant downtrend. So again, fundamental analysis is something that we can definitely use, and many of the traders do use that in their trading. Here's an example of the social impact. Now that's funny because I'm going to give you the same guy, and I'm going to give two examples of what and how he did it. So Elon Musk, we all know him. He's the all-powerful CEO of companies like Tesla and SpaceX. And this is a tweet that he made on August 7th in 2018. Considering taking Tesla private at 420, the funding is secured. Let's see what happened because of this, regular tweet. Take a look at that spike, and it rose by 11%. That was the cause of a very simple tweet. because of a very simple. Now, more recently, like 2 weeks ago, he tweeted this: Tesla stock price is too high, in my opinion, and we can see exactly what it did on that time. The stock fell significantly, the stock price. So again, it's not like before. The world has changed and trading has changed along with it. So we're talking about the changes that were being made through the flooding of the data that we're flooded with, be it macro and microeconomic events, social sentiments, and social networks, and also many technical indicators that we can use, and many of us actually do use. And this webinar is regarding trading automation. So we already explained what trading automation is. How is it advantageous for us to use trading automation? And we're just a few moments away from me actually showing you the software and how easy it can be to actually do it on your own. This is a very user-friendly platform, so it's going to be really easy for you guys. But there are significant advantages that you should take into account. And these advantages are, let's start with, managing the risk more effectively. An automated trading system is a valuable tool when it comes to managing risk, because there are so many events that once they occur, they can impact the portfolio. And not all of them we can think of in advance, but for those that we can set the rules to protect our portfolios in advance. Let's consider, for example, when the US personal income report, our first example. What if I could ask a robot to look at the next time the US personal income report updates, and if at that time my portfolio suffers more than 1% loss, to simply close all the open positions? That's a very good way to protect ourselves. And we'll see how we can do these examples in a few moments. Another thing that we can do, a very important factor, is the factor of time. We can minimize the time spent monitoring the markets. And time is actually our most valuable asset. So if we look at our daily routines, it pretty much looks the same. We sit in front of the trading desk, we're waiting for events to happen, and we react to them by placing the trading orders. And this is a time-wasting process, not to mention that we can't be available 24/7. So if we allow a machine to take over these mundane tasks, we can get our lives back, and we can also use that time to learn about new trading techniques and new things that we can update our algo trading software with. And there's also the thing about human bias. With automation, we can disable our own human emotions. All the things that we talked about initially, like greed, like fear. We want to disable our human pitfalls, and a machine will take care of it. So no more greedy trades or trades that are generated from boredom. That's very important as well. So moving on, let's talk about Capitalize and how we want to do automated trading. Capitalize, as it says, it breaks the barriers for automation of trading by providing a natural language interface that everyone can use. This is an example from our actual screen of Capitalize. You can see that you just put in the entry strategy, but why not actually do it on our own and see how this can actually be done? So I'm going to start sharing with you my my web. Here we go. So here I am in the TradeView site, and if we're going to the TradeView site, we can go to, one moment. to the section of softwares where we can see okay, we're already there. It's very simple. We're in the TradeView site. Under software, we can click on Get Started right here. It's very simple. And the TradeView market opens up. Just to want to enlarge it so you can see the whole screen. Okay, before I continue, I just want to make sure, can everyone see the TradeView terminal in Capitalise? Can you see the screen where it says entry strategy? Thank you, Luis. Anyone else? I want to be sure that everyone can see the screen because we're going to start the presentation on the screen itself. This is the most important part. I want you guys to see exactly how you can operate and start automating your trades very, very easily. So thank you, Jan. Thank you, Adam. Okay, that's going to be good enough for me. Let's get started here and take a quick platform tour. So I clicked on the software part of TradeView Markets website, and then I saw the Capitalize section, and I clicked on Getting Started. Usually what it'll do is there will be a window here that opens up, and you will be asked to put in your details. Now that could be the username will probably be in it already, but then you'll have to type in your password. Okay, so before I'm going to actually write a strategy, let's just give you a quick tour of what you have available here. Create a new strategy. That's the most important part. How you automate your trading. How do you actually perform algorithmic trading on your own? And there are examples here. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But if you want to learn about this software and how you can use it, you can click right here on the Learning Center, and 3 options will open up for you. One is watch videos, and you have plenty of videos that are available for you. Another window opens up here, and you can see, one moment, let's wait for it to open up. Good. Okay, so you can see that there are plenty of videos here that you guys can actually use. How to use this strategy creation wizard, how to create a trading order, add conditions to your trading order, write an exit strategy, using technical indicator, how to trade on the news. All these are available for you. You can also read the keyword guide, and you can also browse examples. We're going to get into that section in a moment. So our learning center right here, you see it's always available for you, and you can actually use it whenever you want. Below we can see the support. By the way, if we're talking about support, you can actually use this chat box to chat to a representative from Capitalise, and we'll be more than happy to help you with whatever you need. If you have a question, we're available for you, and we appreciate your questions. Okay. All right, I see that I'm talking about a question. Okay, Nicole said that it's all fine. Good to hear from you, Nicole. Thank you. All right, moving on. So let's get into our main event here, and let's talk about creating a strategy. All right, so we'll start with a very, very easy to understand example, an entry strategy, a simple trade that we want to buy 10,000 units of the euro dollar. What I want to demonstrate right now is how you guys can actually write in your own words and execute it. Let's start. You have these options right here, these presets, and we can say that we want to buy 10,000 units of the euro dollar. Here we go. So if we click on next, I'm going to skip the exit strategy part for a second. If we click on next, we can name the strategy, call it simple buy, and we can confirm it. I know that you guys probably think, okay, we can click on buy something and it's simpler, but our software takes care of more detailed strategies, and we're going to get to that a little bit later on. So here we see it says strategy was stopped. The strategy was stopped because it was already executed. Okay, we didn't have to wait. There wasn't any condition. We said just that we want to buy something, and the strategy was stopped. I'm gonna I want to show you guys actually how you guys can see it on your MT4 stations. So I'm opening mine up, and you'll see it in a second. I want to show you that the trade was already executed and it was done right there. I hope that you guys can see it. Can see my screen. Please let me know if that's the case. All right, we can see that it was executed. If you guys can see it, that's great. You see right here, we have the order, we have the time that when it was executed, and you can see that it's already active in my MT4 account under the TradeView. So that's good. That was a very, very simple example. Let's get into something a bit more interesting. I want to show you how you can use the system to do things that are way more interesting and automate your trading. Okay. Here we go. We can also set when we will close the trade. Let's see an example of a trade that we want to open and also close. Let's go back to the new strategy, and we'll give the conditions in which we want to close the position. So again, let's say that we want to buy 10,000, okay, 1 second, 10,000 units of the euro dollar. Great, and I'm going to click on next, and now I get to pick my exit strategy. That's also something that I want to consider. So let's say that we want to close the position. There are presets here. At trailing stop loss of, let's say, 5%. Great. So now I know that I'm just buying something and I know exactly when it'll close. Now this is something that, resembles some orders that you may know and you're familiar with. And if we click on confirm, again, it's executed, working on an entry, as you can see here. Lewis is asking, how do we link our MT4 with a Capitalise to execute immediately? Well, it's done automatically. As I said previously, once you click on the Get Started button in TV markets in TV markets, TradeView markets, you can see that there is a software section. So available softwares that you can use. And if you do that, then Capitalize will pop up. It's probably the first one if I'm not mistaken. And once you do that, there is a window that opens up and it asks you to type in your password, your user password. And when you do that, it's linked automatically. So you have no concerns on how to do it on your own. You just have to type in your password and that's it. It's connected. Okay, so going back, we can see that it says right here that the entry was triggered and we have one live strategy, and that is our exit. It's working on an exit, okay? Because we haven't met the conditions that we previously set in our exit strategy. So that's how you write an entry order and an exit order. But you can do things that are, you know, a bit more interesting. And I'll show you another feature that we have that's called the loop, something that a strategy that can be ongoing. Let's see how that goes. I'm going to click here again on create a new strategy. Let's become a bit more creative here, and let's say that if the euro dollar is above, let's say 1.2 for the sake of our example. Then let's say that we want to buy 10,000 units of the euro dollar. Okay, and we're going to click on next. And let's say that we want to close the position at a profit of $50. Great. Okay, so far we pretty much understand what's going on here, but over here you can see that it says once or in loop. What does it mean once or in loop? If we use in loop, it means that we're enabling ourselves to constantly run this strategy. And that you're welcome, Lewis. And that means that whenever our strategy has executed, then that's great. Our trade is open. If it closes down because it met the conditions that we previously wrote in, then it will look for another opening that we can perform. Whenever the price is what we wanted it to be, above 1.2 in this case, and we wanted to buy 10,000 units of the euro dollars, great, then that'll happen. And if we hit a profit of $50, then it'll close the position. So that's what in loop means. Let's talk about some technical indicators that we can use and make it even more interesting. Let's say that give a technical condition like if the euro dollar moving average, and when we write moving average, you see it asks us what type of moving average we want to use. So let's say 20-day moving average, okay? And we're approving it here, okay? So if the euro dollar 20-day moving average, let's say that it crosses above, you can see that everything has a preset, almost everything has a preset, and it's very easy to use it. Crosses above the euro dollar, let's say 50-day moving average. Then in this case, we want to buy 10,000 units of the euro dollar. So that's an example of how you can actually use technical indicators and write them down as a strategy. That's how you automate your strategy in advance. Another mechanism that you want to take into consideration is using using our software as a safety mechanism for your own. Okay, let's say that uh, you know, the interest rate has changed or simply the price drops for some reason, then we can actually close positions that are related with a certain instrument. Let me give you an example. Okay, let's say that if the interest rate, and when I say interest rate, oh, I didn't mean that. Interest rate, you see I have all kinds of options for which interest rate I'm referring to. And in this case, I'm going to go with the US. It's a pretty important one. So if the results are above forecast, again, everything is written down here, so it's very simple. And let's say, and the price of euro dollar is decreases by more than 0.5%. From the 1-minute open. Of the euro dollar. Then we want to sell positions that have the dollar as the counter currency in them. So let's say that we have sell 10,000 units of the euro dollar, and we want to sell again 10,000 of the, let's say, pound dollar. So this can actually act as a safety mechanism for us if we're looking at certain events. Another feature that I want to show you is how to close positions at a certain time of day. And for that, we can go to something fairly simple. Again, let's say that we're buying 10,000 units of the euro dollar, and our condition is time related. So we can write down that we want to close the position at a certain time. So let's say that we want to do it right before the market closes down, and we're writing our time, and it asks the time zone. So writing Eastern, and here we go. And once we click on next, it obviously applies. And we can also we can define conditions and add them to the time conditions. Let's see how we can do that. Using time and other conditions as well. Let's say that at a certain time, and now we can add the condition that we want to. So if at this time the euro dollar is above the euro dollar moving average, for example, and again, I have to type what, or just to prove the type of moving average that I'm looking at. I'm going to change that to 20 just for the sake of the example. We can buy, we can sell, we can use this condition as an exit strategy as well. So various uses for it, and it's all available for you. I want to go into something that is even a bit more complex that you guys can use, a different strategy. But before I'm going to actually go ahead and do that, I want to show you how you can use simple strategies by going to this section, browse examples. Okay, so this page, it's something that we've recently set up. And by the way, that I won't forget, this is also available for you through the app. So it's very easy to use. You guys should definitely take advantage of that. Look for it in your app. And in this page right here, again, I'm going to show you where I went, browse examples. You can actually look at examples of templates that other users have used. And there are ways that you can sort these examples according to what interests you. So some of you might be interested in the examples that bring in more return. I know that's obviously appealing. But you can also look at, templates that have good win ratio or that are very popular with other users. Let's look at return, for example, and see the examples that we have here. Okay, so here you can see all these templates, and this is an hourly reverse signal of the Kiwi and the yen. An hourly increase of 0.05% will trigger a buy signal for the Kiwi yen. There's a very good win ratio. We can see how many times it was hit and what's the return, and we can see that it updates. And here's how you can actually use the template. If you click on it, it opens up and the template is ready for you. You just have to type in the amount that you want to put in. Okay, so that's something that you guys should use. That's a very good tool for you. Let's take a look at another example. Let's look at the win ratio or recently triggered. That would be a good one too. What templates people used recently. Stochastic relative strength index crosses below the relative strength index will trigger a buy order for the Kiwi yen. That's another interesting one. Return here on this one for the pound yen is not as strong, but we can see that it was hit a few times. So feel free to browse, look for strategies that you guys think are good strategies and that you want to utilize. That's available for you. But I want to show you how you can. The last thing that I want to show you actually is how you can use both fundamental analysis and technical analysis, and to form a strategy and automate it through Capitalise. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to go back to create a strategy to this page right here. Okay. I want to make sure that another audio and video check just to make sure that you guys can see everything and that you can hear me well. It's something that I need to know, that I'm not just talking to myself here. Okay, thank you, Adam. Great. And by the way, guys, thank you, Chris. Chris says I'm not alone. That's good to know. And by the way, guys, feel free to ask questions. This is not just a monologue. I want to present to you something that I think that you guys can use very, very easily and will benefit you in your trading. Um, and I'm available to take your questions. Please feel free to do so. So, as I said, the last thing that I want to show you before we're going to wrap it up is show you how you can actually use fundamental analysis along with technical analysis. Let's take let's make a good example out of it. Um, we'll get started here. Let's say that the interest rate announcement in the US, here it is. If the results are above the forecast and the S&P crosses below the 100-day moving average, then we want to sell 10,000 units of the euro dollar. So here you can see a good example of how we can use the system to automate both from a fundamental standpoint and a technical one. And that's what makes our software a bit different than other softwares. That you cannot just, write, it's not just about writing a trading order. It's about automating your entire strategy and how you look at trading as a whole. Okay, so I have a couple of questions here. Adam is writing something nice. The software looks amazing to make trades easier when away from the screens. Are we able to backtest our strategies shortly? So you can, and we will make tools available for you to backtest entire strategies. That's something that will be available for you in the very near future. That's a very good question. Another question here, will we be able to use tweets to automate trades such as, Trump tweeting? Well, I don't know if there's any machine that's going to keep up with President Trump and his tweets, but to answer your question more seriously, that's another feature that we're going to look at. Adding social sentiments to the algorithms is something that is in production, but that it requires more scenarios, so it'll take some time to do that. But that's a very, very interesting input that we're already researching. So we're in the same mindset, Adam. That's nice to know. I want to give you another example of how to use the software and how it makes your life easier in creating new strategies. So let's go for a different option. If the VIX, which is the volatility index, trades above 50 points, Here we go. And I wanted to write it here. 1 second. Here we go. Above 50 points. And the euro dollar, let's say 20-day moving average, crosses above the 100-day moving average, of the euro dollar, then you want to buy 10,000 units of the euro dollar. But I can also use an interesting option for, I'm going to click on next here. I can also use an interesting strategy and put it into my exit strategy. Let's say that I want to close the position if the euro dollar 30-day moving average crosses below the 100-day moving average, or maybe I want to do something else. Maybe I want to, or I want to close it at a trailing stop loss of 3%. So here you saw something that is a bit more complex, me using advanced technical analysis, both for my opening of the position and my closing of the position. So, and when I click on next here, all I have to do is verify it, and I can name the strategy and run it live. I don't have to, or I can change the strategy if I want to, and then just click confirm, and we see that the strategy is live. So it's working on an entry right now. It's waiting to meet these conditions. So to sum up, the benefit of this software is, again, as I said 5 minutes earlier, is unlike creating orders and executing them whenever the rates that you want to appear will appear. It's about automating your entire trading strategy. And as I said previously in the webinar, 2% of the players that are accountable for 80% of global trading use algorithms in order to conduct their trading. And these algorithms are not available for you as day or intraday traders. They're not available for you. And our aim here was to make this available for you, this kind of trading operation. So I'm looking forward for you guys to go into TradeViewMarkets.com and actually look for the software section, click on Capitalize, and start exploring the different automation tools that you will have at your disposal. We're all human. We all have these greed and fear factors within us. and our software enables you to overcome it. So I want to say thank you to everyone who has attended, and I will email you with a recording of our session. And with that, I want to wish you a good day. And unless there are any other questions, I'm going to let you go. So far I've answered the questions that I saw, and I believe that everything is clear. Thank you very much for attending today, and we'll try to send you the recording within a couple of days. Thank you.